They all know what's coming. The grips, the off balances, the entries. Andy Murasaki isn't hiding his intentions. He's hunting for the X guard every single time. But here's the real question. If everyone knows, why is it so difficult to stop? Hey everyone, welcome to part 2 of episode 1, where I dive into Andy Murasaki's X-Guard funnel. Whether you've seen part 1 or not, to just give a quick refresher, a funnel is a concept that in its simplest terms means to begin broadly and end narrowly. When applied to Jiu-Jitsu, we can compare this analogy to leading the match toward our A game through the many possibilities and reactions we may face. In part 1, we studied what I like to refer to as the initiators behind Andy's X-Guard system, and also a few concepts that I found really valuable and crucial in his success. Now in part 2, we're going to kick things off with what I like to call the connectors. Connectors are positions that Andy can use to close the distance off of an initiator, so he can progress the sequence into X-Guard. Think of them as bridges, or the middle layer within his system, and they're not equal. Some are primary bridges in the route, and others are optional bridges that keep the route alive. In part 1, I ended the video barely scratching the surface on the last initiator of Close Guard, and that's because Andy's route from there almost always relies on connecting to K-Guard, making it a primary bridge. The reason why it's such an effective connector is because it closes the distance against a kneeling opponent while already preloading the angle, underhook, and leg placement needed for modified or standard X. From here, the missing piece is creating the overhead elevation to complete the entry. Now, from Close Guard, Andy can look to enter K-Guard in two main ways. He can go straight for the underhook, using collar control to manage posture and distance, and then hip out to create the angle to flare his knee towards the mat. Or he can set it up by forcing a reaction to create an opening. Here he uses the threat of the arm drag, which his opponent responds by standing up to defend, however leaving room for the underhook leading to the K-Guard entry. Whereas K-Guard is Andy's default path into X from Close Guard, his use of the sit-up guard is an example of an optional bridge, not because it's weaker, but because it's not his only pathway when entering from De La Riva. For Andy, it shows up naturally from his stomp method, which in part 1 we learned he commonly uses along with a far sleeve grip, pushing his opponent's weight away and then rotating onto his hip to force the cross post, creating a clean pathway for the leg pummel. But by driving his opponent's weight back, Andy can also opt to connect to sit-up guard. Here, with Andy's opponent controlling his De La Riva leg, Andy tilts him to the backside, forcing the post and freeing his leg as a result. Where Andy could maybe have looked to pummel his leg directly inside to enter single leg X, he instead chooses to first close the distance by overhooking the leg to make his way into sit-up guard. He transitions to the lapel grip and hips out to get the shin-on-shin hook, with the goal of controlling the inside lane so he can shoot the leg through and into single leg X. Similar to how Andy connects to his sit-up guard, for this video I connected with Datsusara. They sent me their combat gi made from 100% hemp, built to be durable and breathable for hard training, and also their 28-liter battle pack, which has a padded laptop compartment, a ton of organization, and tough built-to-last zippers. If you want gear that's made to endure training and real-world travel, check them out, link below. So you've done the hard part. You initiated, you connected if needed, you pummeled your leg inside, and you arrive at the destination, some variation of X-Guard. But the final stage matters just as much as the first. If the opponent is allowed to settle their weight back onto you or plant their foot, X-Guard can disappear fast. And this is where the real theme of the funnel into X-Guard hits home for me. Andy doesn't enter X-Guard and then start off balancing. He arrives there because the off balance already exists, either created by the initiator or preserved through a connector. So the goal isn't just being underneath the hips. The goal is staying under them while continuing to deny the opponent any chance to settle their weight. And the way Andy does that is through distance management. He keeps the opponent's weight pushed away while continuing to prevent the foot from planting on the floor, and looks to break them down onto the far knee. That's where the details of hooks, grips, and frames really come into play. In this example, Murasaki enters modified X-Guard due to the overhead off balance. He uses his hooks to keep the leg floating and disrupt his opponent's balance while elevating the leg with an underhook grip. And here, after creating the initial off balance with a stomp and elevation, while using his hooks to maintain the distance, notice how Murasaki loads the leg onto his forearm, making it difficult for the opponent to plant their foot and rebuild their base. If there's one takeaway from this series on Andy Murasaki, I would say it's stop naming positions and start naming roles. It might just force you to see things from a different point of view. For example, De La Riva isn't just a guard, it's an initiator that Andy uses to off balance in a variety of ways. Some of them lead directly into a variation of X guard, while others connect into sit-up guard. And X guard is more than a destination you just arrive at. The foundation of it is laid and maintained throughout the entire sequence. And that's it for part 2. If you want to support the channel, while at the same time gain access to exclusive content such as mini studies, behind the scenes, and match notes, be sure to check out my Patreon. And definitely check out Andy Murasaki's instructional for yourself. He's an excellent teacher, and I'm sincerely thankful and lucky that he's been very supportive in the making of these videos. I'll have it linked down below, along with his socials. Stay tuned for the next episode in the Art of Funneling series, which will be on Kolabate's duck underpassing. Thank you to all my Patreon members, Datsusara for sponsoring this video, and everyone for watching. Peace.